So what Jose's saying is accurate, right? The money's not in the service, it's in the selling of the service. So what he's doing, if you notice, is he's systematically asking questions to find out what's important to you so he can sell you on what's important to you, right? Versus just blanket throwing everything out and being like, here are all the things. So crystal clear on a few things, right? Number one, we all perform the same service. We have the same license that allows us to perform the same service. We like he was saying, we all take the same pictures. We all do the silly videos of us saying, walk inside of this new property. Let's come take a look. You know what I'm saying? Like we all do this. Right? Yep. So if that's what's true, which it is, then I should spend all my time trying to learn how to sell the service. Right? So instead of just blanket, like, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this, and here's my track record, be like, hey, well, I'm curious. So I heard him saying all of that. What I would say, just an economy of words, is well, my job to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. I know you have lots of options at your disposal, and I want you to feel comfortable with the one you end up choosing. I guess ultimately for you, like what's most important in the agent that you hire, and then be quiet. And then they're going to tell you. And then what he did is accurate. I would just economy of words be like, okay, and how are you going to know when you found the right one?
That how will you know is crucial.
It's crucial.
They're gonna basically tell you how they're gonna go about making that decision. Sometimes when I'm asking, even on the pre-qual, like, hey, what are you looking for in whichever agent that you end up hiring? And then I'll be like, oh, I'm looking for this. And I'll be like, and how will you know when you found the right person, or how will you know if they have that? Yeah, and then what you're gonna find out is a lot of people don't know. They don't know. They're like, oh, well, it's gonna be a feeling, which means it's whoever they feel comfortable.
Yeah. So it accomplishes two things, right? The first is where you're kind of like politely confronting them to be like, hey, what is your strategy that you're utilizing as a mechanism for selection? The second thing you're doing is by confronting them, because the vast majority of people don't have a strategy, what they become acutely aware of is that they're going by feeling or their gut. And do you know what gut stands for, Scott? Give up thinking. So you're bringing them back to the prefrontal cortex, like back to their rational brain to be like, well, how am I going to make that decision? And then let's say they're like, let's say it's like an expired or something. They're like, well, I don't know. Like, it'll just be a feeling and stuff. It's like, well, I appreciate that. I really do. And I have to imagine that you felt very comfortable and confident with the last agent. Otherwise, you wouldn't have hired him. And unfortunately, that didn't work out, right? So this time around, do you have a specific process that you can follow so that way you can ensure that you don't get the same result that you did last time? And, in the next, 30 days or so, you'll have an offer on the table instead of talking to all these agents. And then be quiet. Okay. And then they're like, well, I'm really not sure. Well, may I make a suggestion? May I make a suggestion is politely asking permission to close. Mm-hmm. And then shut up, wait for them to respond. And they'll be like, yeah, go ahead. Or yeah, that's cool. Well, I find that when, homeowners are making decisions in terms of selection process of an agent, it's really difficult because everybody is going to tell you that they're the best thing since sliced bread, aren't they?
Yes.
And the challenge is how do you differentiate? So I have found that by asking a few questions, you can really have some filters. So that way you can make the decision that you feel is best, whether it's me or somebody else. And I'd like to share them with you. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Now, absolutely. Share them with you. I guess I'm curious for you personally, because I know everybody's different. Ultimately for you, in terms of the person that you partner with to help you with this sale, what's most important to you? What are the key kind of characteristics or key qualities that you're looking for in the agent that you hire? And then shut up. And they will tell you. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So might say something, well, somebody who can market, somebody knows my neighborhood really well, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then you can summarize it. Okay, so based on what you've been kind of to share with me, it sounds like what's really important to you is experience, meaning being at the closing table a lot of times. Because for most people, I don't know if this is true for you, it's the largest asset that they own, and they want to make sure that it's being dealt with properly. And then the second is that it's really important to you that you get this done in a specific allotment of time, because it's 6 months have already gone by and it hasn't sold, and you don't want to be here, 60, 90, 120 days from now and still be having the same conversation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you also want somebody who has a demonstrated track record in your geographic area, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So if we look at that, it seems like experience and track record are really important to you. So some of the questions that you could be asking, not only me, but also anybody else that you're considering, are the following. The first is, How many homes have you personally sold, not your team, not your company, personally sold in the last 12 months? Now, this is a really good question because it's production driven. Yes, because I know you were kind enough to share with me that experience and production are really important to you. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we do connect, I don't know if you know this, but every agent in the multiple listing service, independent of what they tell you, they have something called like a real estate report card, where essentially you can enter in their license number and you could see every transaction in MLS that they've done in the last 12 months. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah. So what I find, and I don't know if this would be helpful for you in preparation for our time to connect, is that a lot of homeowners really appreciate that I can bring with me not only a real estate report card for me, but for anybody else that they're considering hiring. So that way you can compare apples to apples, because again, experience and, just actual production are really important to you, because, we don't want to be sitting here again, 90, 120 days from now and the home's not. So would that be helpful or useful to you in some way?
Yeah, I think it would.
Okay, cool. So in order to do that properly and professionally, I just need to know who else you're considering hiring.
Okay.
And they'll tell you, Susie, Bob, and Jim.
Now,
Or,
Aaron,
you know what else they do? They go like this. They're like, well, I don't remember what his name was. And I'll make I'll be like, doesn't seem like he was that memorable, huh?
Do they ever just say, well, that's none of your business. I don't need to tell you who I'm in.
They do that. You're like, listen, I appreciate that. And I need you to know and understand my intention in asking is really to equip you with all the information that you need so you can make the decision that you feel is best. It's independent of whether or not you decide to hire me or not. I know that it's really challenging when you're having so many people call you to try to sift through all the pitches to really get to some data that you can use to actually make a good decision. So, my intention again is it's really just to give you all that information so you can decide accordingly. It's not to be pushy, and it's not to try to, speak disparagingly of those agents in any way. At the same time, the facts don't lie. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you were considering having surgery done, and one surgeon did it 100 times, and the two other surgeons you were considering did it 3 or 4 times in the same year. I mean, would you want to know that data before you hired them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, just by you saying that demonstrates that you're beginning to realize how this is just like that. So again, in order to do that properly and professionally, I just need to know who you're considering. Do you know their names by any chance? So if I know it's going to be that way, you see what I'm saying? Like you can disengage in that way. The key is not just like blanket selling them on things. Sell them on the things that are important to them. The only way you're going to know what's important to them is to ask them questions. And then if you found the right one, takes them out of the emotion and gets them back into logic.
And then even Scott, like whenever how we went, somebody just did the alarm. So how we went, if you're setting it up as well too, when you're like, well, and this is in person, if somebody tells you a higher price, will you automatically list your home with them? I'd be like, no. I'd be like, why not? Okay, if somebody tells you the lowest commission, will you automatically list your home with them? And they'll be like, no. Be like, why not? So you're basically comparing them for somebody else coming in with a lower, like a commission or even a higher price as well too, basically. And then the other alternative to the MLS now, Aaron, is the Zillow profile, basically. Like even on the phone, you can tell them like, hey, look, can I show you a little trick? Now, Aaron, this was Scott's question. Scott's question was like, hey, look, like, what if you don't have that track record? What if you don't have that history of selling thousands of homes? What I told them, and maybe you can give a little bit of input, it's a very similar process. But then what I would say is something, look, if you're going to be comparing agents to agents, like what I really want you to do is to fully understand the services that we offer and how we're going to help you sell your home for top dollar. Is it okay with you if I go over our marketing plan and what we're going to do to help you market and promote this property and to make sure that you get top dollar? And that's what I did at the very early part of my career. And my marketing was necessary because everybody was going over marketing plans and how they had buyers from Venezuela and they had buyers from China and they had all these things. So I had to get good at that. And then what would happen a lot of the times when I would do that is people would like what I had to offer, which would increase my credibility, which now they actually wanted what I had to offer, and now it was easier for me to close on them because they wanted the services that we had to offer, basically.
Yeah. So
now,
in conjunction with that, yes, 100%. In conjunction with that, people used to do this. I would just flip it. Right. So, what one of the knocks people would say to me or to Jose, what other agents would feed them is like, oh man, like he sells so many homes. Like, I don't know if he has time for you, bro. So like they would feed him that. Right. So I had to be able to combat that. And I'd be like, yeah, listen, I appreciate that. At the same time, have you ever heard the saying that if you want something done, give it to somebody who's busy?
Yes.
And they're like, yeah. So, I'm respectful of the fact that it may appear, from a time perspective, that because we sell so many homes, I might not be able to provide you with, direct attention. Here's what's really interesting, though, is the opposite is in fact true. Can I explain to you what I mean?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, well, agents who are doing less production, they usually are one-man show, meaning they have no assistants, they have no staff, and they're running around with like a chicken without their head cut off. And for that reason, it's actually more difficult to get in touch with them. Because you see, with us, we have full-time staff. I have a full-time personal assistant. I have a listing coordinator, transaction coordinator. You know what that allows me to do, Scott?
What's that?
Provide our clients with undivided attention. And that's exactly what it is that you're looking for in the agent that you hire, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Can I share with you what the great news is?
What's the great news?
You found what you're looking for, brother. Let's just go ahead and take care of the program. So that's how I would have to combat it. Now, if I was on the other end,
yes, that's what I was going to ask.
You got to use what tactics you got.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was on the other end, I'd be like, yeah, I appreciate that. And, it's not uncommon with these big mega teams. And I'm not suggesting this is true here. Well, I guess before we get there, let me ask you a question. How important is it for you that you have a direct relationship with the agent that you hire? Like that they're available to you, that you can speak to them whenever you want, they're going to be involved in the transaction and every aspect of the transaction. Like how important is that to you?
I mean, it's important that, I'm speaking with either them or somebody on their team, that they're going to be there every step of the way.
Yeah, for sure. And have you ever had an experience like in kind of business in general, that as the business gets bigger and they're servicing more clients, that they have a tendency to hand off, business to other people and other assistants and this and that? I guess I'm curious, when that happens, how does that make you feel as a consumer?
I guess maybe not as loved.
Yeah, man. And I don't know about you, but like if I'm going to pay somebody a bunch of money, I want to feel a little love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, whatever you decided to do is perfectly okay. The choice that you have to make is this. Well, let me ask you this. All things being equal in terms of like size and all that other stuff, because if you're looking for a mega team that sells like 1,000 doors a year, I'm not the right guy for you. At the same time, if you want somebody who's a hyperlocal expert, who's committed to helping you and holding your hand every step of the way through this process, that'll give you the service that you deserve and get you the results that you're after, then I'm the guy for you. So I guess I'm curious, like all things being equal, who would you want to work with based on the time that you spent with them?
Yeah, somebody who's going to be there every step of the way for me. Okay.
And you strike me to be someone who's straightforward and to the point. So let me just ask, do you feel like I fit that criteria? Based on our initial conversation, based on kind of, what we sent over to you, the reviews you've seen, our conversation today?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You know what the great news is?
What's that?
I know so. I mean, let's just go ahead and take care of the appropriate paperwork so we can get you the service and the results that you're after. And you don't have to worry about being handed off to somebody else. How's that sound?
I think that sounds fair.
Come on, team. So you see what I'm saying, dude? I can go both ways, bro. If you want to, get on me because I do too much, I can handle it. You want to get on me because I don't do enough? Bam, I can handle it. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Say that again, Aaron. I can go both ways.
I knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna pick it up. Come on, bro. You're better than that, bro. Come on.
Okay. Now here's my question to you, Scott. My question to you is, at the very beginning of my career, like let's say that didn't work or they didn't sign the contract there, almost like my Hail Mary was the marketing plan of action, meaning I would not leave without presenting that because I got really good at presenting that. So let me ask you a question. Have you, when was the last time you practiced the plan of action?
Like as far as marketing goes?
Yeah.
I mean, not often. Yeah. I practice
let me ask you this. When you don't get a listing, do you ask the seller for feedback ever?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
And what do they typically say?
I mean, there's different reasons. I mean, sometimes they ended up going with somebody they used prior, or they already gave a verbal to somebody else, but they decided to still interview me. And, I mean, there's been different reasons.
Got it. Okay, so in my market, what I would hear the feedback was a lot like, hey, look, this guy had like this really good marketing thing. So what I would be doing is whenever you don't take a listing, be paying attention to the feedback that they're giving you, and that'll
Okay.
very likely tell you what you need to work on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So be paying extra. In my market, it was like, hey, look, like this other agent had this marketing, or I would get feedback like, I remember going on a presentation. I did a quick walkthrough of the home, and the feedback that I got, hey, look, like you did the walkthrough so fast that it almost felt like you didn't care about our property. So then after that, I was like, hey, sellers are paying attention to that. So I started like when I do my walkthrough, I pull up to the house and I'm like looking at the roof, I'm looking at the grass, I'm looking at the street. And I know they're looking through their window, or they're looking through their cameras. And I'm just like, and if they're looking, if you show up to the door and before you even knock, the door's opening up already. Right. So I made that adjustment. So a lot of it has to do with like as well too, like if you're going on presentations and you're not taking them, getting feedback from people, and then being like, okay, like what feedback did they give me? And if you're getting the same consistent feedback, then making those adjustments. The feedback that I was getting was just like, hey, like it was different feedbacks at different time. One of them was the walkthrough. The other one was just I felt more comfortable with the other agent, which let me know that I wasn't being versatile enough, or I wasn't helping people feel comfortable in my approach. The other one was marketing, and I started like tweak until I fixed those, and then that allowed me to close better, basically.
Posey, you sounded like a little birdie when you did that, bro. That was nice, dude. Can you do that again?
Tweak.
There you go. So, yeah, and there's a direct correlation with the amount of progress that a man or woman experiences with the amount of truth that they can withstand. So most of us, I want everybody to look at me if your camera's on, and if it's not, still look at me. Most of us do not put ourselves in situations where we can get direct feedback because we can't handle the truth. It hurts. You know what it confirms, Carlos? We're not as cool as we think we are, as fast as we think we are, as skilled as we think we are. It's uncomfortable. It's the only way you actually progress, though. It's the only way. So what I would propose or suggest is exactly what Jose's saying. You can get direct feedback from there's multiple places to get direct feedback. If you want direct feedback, you have to go to the markets. Two places you can get direct feedback. One is nature. Like you don't think gravity's real? Great. Jump off a cliff and see how it works out. Yeah. You want to call gravity a different name and say that it's not going to like affect you if you jump off? Great. Go try it and see how it works out. Like nature will give you direct feedback, right? You think you can say affirmations like I am warm and swim in 7-degree water and live? Great. Try it out. See how it works out. Yeah. You know what? Another place that gives direct feedback is the marketplace. Unfiltered, unvarnished, not the feedback from loved ones who are like, oh, Scott, you're good just the way you are, brother. I love you. No, direct feedback. So if I have a product and not a lot of people are buying it, what does that tell me? The marketplace is giving me feedback. Yes. If I'm going on presentations and I'm not taking as many, if I'm not at least a 70% closing ratio, the marketplace is telling me something. I just have to figure out what it is and not take it personal. How do most people deal with direct feedback? Tell me.
They're asking me specifically?
Yeah, Carlos. They either whine, cry, or they get wildly defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah? But you see what's happening? All of that is resisting what? Truth. The truth wears a crown of thorns, team. Okay? So you want truth. A, if you really are serious about getting really good at this, call, ask for feedback. B, consider recording presentations. Yes? I used to do that.
You just let them know that you're recording?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I have a professional coach who I hired to help me to serve our clients better in terms of presentation. And they've requested that I record some of those conversations. And so with that, if you're open to it, I'm going to go ahead and push record. Would that be okay?
That's good.
And then calls like this, where you can bring that feedback back. Yeah. And then also having a guide who's further along the path that you can show that type of data to, who can point out to you exactly what you're doing wrong. That's how you improve. Do you see? But it's our pride and our ego that prevents us from doing it. Because we want to say we're hashtag blessed. Meanwhile, we're not making any money. Yeah? So you're on the right path, dude. Keep doing it. I would consider, again, feedback like this, ask why, find out what the deal is. And if you're hearing certain things all the time, well, we just felt more comfortable. Well, probably a lack of versatility. And I need to increase my emotional intelligence because I'm not connecting with people. Yeah. If you walk out and they're like, hey, the other agent said they do it for like a point less, and in your mind, you're like, I would have done that. Well, then I didn't ask. I didn't flesh out the objections at the table.
Yeah. So a lot of this is going to come with experience
with reps.
Because it's not going to be scripted, right? It's not going to be in the script.
It's reps. So yeah, the really hard part about it, the reason why we can feel like rest assured that AI, it's got a run rate to try to figure out what we do, is because it's multifaceted, multidimensional, and it has to deal with intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence. And the only way you can learn it is through reps with a lot of humans. See, but you see what gets in the way of this learning process? My patience with allowing it to progress and learn. Yeah. See, like, I know a lot of you guys are wildly entitled. You really think because you wake up at 6 and go to the gym and call people that you're entitled to make $500,000 a year. You're not. Nobody owes you anything, bro. You know what I'm saying? The lioness who gets up to go hunting, not entitled to a cub. But the process of learning how to hunt, think about this. He takes because the females in that species do all the hunting.
Yeah,
she takes other females with her on hunts from the time they're little. Why? Reps.
Yeah.
Reps. That's how they learn. Reps, observation, watching, reps over and over again. So it's just elongating time horizons. Like, it takes a while to get good at this. But here's the crazy part. You could be like just learning this, be like a yellow belt, and still make $200,000 a year. Yay!
Yeah, I was just rereading a Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and they talk about the analogy of a doctor going through medical school and then being an intern. Like, they're not getting paid for many, many, many years because they're building this foundation and learning. Where obviously we can still get paid along the way, but building that foundation is
the main difference for us. Right? A, we don't have to spend $250,000 to $300,000 on the education.
Yeah,
and B, we can earn way more money while we're learning. So it's just understanding that, the only way you're going to learn this is reps. So you'll verbally vomit, you'll come back, you won't get the listing, and you'll hop on a call like this and be like, what happened? And me and Jose was like, well, we'll ask you a bunch of questions. And then with a 90% degree probability, it's like, this is the reason. Here's how you fix it. Then that'll pop up again, and you'll have the solution, and you'll get a contract signed. Yay! But then you know what'll happen? You'll be on another one. Something else comes up. Maybe it's price. They listed with another agent because they agreed to list it at a higher price. And you're like, okay, boom. Here's what the reason is. Here's how you handle it at the table. Here's how you flesh it out. Here's how you prep them for the other agent telling them it's less. Yeah. It's just reps, and that's how you learn over time.
Boom.
Appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Later.